I'm Carla.
And I'm Crystal.
And we're real estate agents in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Welcome to our show.
If you are interested in real estate, behind the scenes of real estate, maybe if you're looking to buy or sell a home or have ever owned a home, I think that you'll find something interesting in this show for you.
Absolutely.
All right.
I have two topics and I have some rapid fire questions.
Oh, dear God.
Rapid fire, yes. Should I start with rapid fire?
Oh my gosh, we're going right into it.
Well, I was going to do it at the end, but they'll be quick. Because I've worked over the years as a trainer and a mentor, we get questions. You get questions from our colleagues and other agents every week. So this week I wrote 3 of them down. I was like, okay.
Well, you've been doing real estate for a long time, so I imagine that you have a lot of questions. You've been doing real estate for now?
Since 1999, so I'm on year 25.
Wow.
That's shocking.
That is shocking. I feel like I've been doing it a long time just because I've been doing it 10 years.
That's a long time.
I feel like in real estate, 10 years, it's like dog years. It really is like 47. I've been doing this for 47 years, actually.
This is real problems, real questions I had this week.
These were this week questions?
Week, yes.
Okay.
The buyer does a walkthrough and says the seller needs to remove the nails and patch all the holes in the walls or he's not closing.
I'm so sorry for him. So the way the real estate contract reads in North Carolina is that homes are purchased in the condition that which they made the offer. All of those holes were there when they made the offer. I think honestly, you probably wouldn't want him to patch those holes because it's going to look much worse than it looks now. So I think this would be where our expertise skills would come into negotiating this.
Yes.
We see this all the time.
We see it all the time.
Because if you come from another state, a lot of their contracts do require that you fix things like that. Right. We are not one of those. But honestly, you just don't want them to fix it. It'll look bad. It'll look like you have a polka dot ball.
Right.
You know where I think this is going to become more problematic? The in style for wall decor now is the gallery wall.
Yes.
I am building a gallery wall of my own, and I think about every hole that I'm putting in my wall that when I'm not doing this anymore, I'm going to have to fix it. In fact, now I am arranging the photographs to hide the previous holes.
We can't get a survey completed until 2 days after the due diligence period ends. The seller will not extend the due diligence date. Buyer has given a $10,000 earnest money deposit should the buyer terminate just to protect that earnest money from a potential encroachment that might show up on the survey.
No, because again, the way our North Carolina contract reads is that a survey issue or a blight on the title or something, that does not stop at due diligence. So it goes on past due diligence, so he doesn't have to work with that specifically. Although if I found out about that beforehand, like if you know about it, I would think about whether this is going to be an issue that's actually solvable to something that I'm going to find
later on
a good solution, because they might be able to solve it, but it's not like I had this recently where there was the next door neighbor's driveway connected to this person's driveway, and there was an encroachment, and they were not supposed to be merged driveways. The solution then becomes that you're making your brand new neighbor tear up their driveway, or you're tearing up part of your driveway, and so then it doesn't really look the same.
Right. So even though it's something that is resolvable and the seller could cure that problem, the buyer may not be happy with the cure.
Right.
So that's how you have to weigh those issues.
Right.
Because because you're not happy with the cure doesn't mean that you get that you're protected.
I think what we come into more now is that the survey can't be completed in a short due diligence time frame.
That's
so
right.
We just don't know about these issues yet. A survey is super important. It's one of those things that the attorney will always recommend that you get a survey. They'll never not say that you should do that. But I think it's one of the things that buyers often will say we can forego. And the thing about it is if something comes up later, even if the seller provided you with a copy of their old survey, if something comes up later, your title insurance will not cover
Right,
it because
it's
they'll say you should have gotten your own survey.
Right, and at closing, there's a document you sign, that buyers sign at closing, that say, if there's an issue that comes up that could have been identified with a survey, and you didn't get a survey, we're not covering it. I mean, you sign an extra document with the title company saying that issue is not covered. So yes, I mean, it can cost $300 to $600. Sometimes I've seen them even more, but it's well worth it to take care of any potential issue.
And if you're going to have something done at your house anyway, like you're going to have a fence installed, if you're in an HOA, you're going to have to turn that survey in anyway.
Yes.
You might as well
Just
get
go
it
ahead
done.
and do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. This will be quick.
Okay, because these were not rapid fire.
Okay. You could have just said yes or no. You didn't have to explain.
Yes.
Okay. The seller failed to answer one of the questions on the North Carolina property disclosures, and the buyer wants to terminate and get their due diligence and earnest money back. Can they do that? The seller just left one blank.
No.
Okay. Yes.
No, yeah, you're saying yes?
No, you're right.
Oh.
The answer is no. Yes.
The answer's no.
That's
Why
right.
don't you tell us why, Crystal?
Well, I'll say the biggest reason why is because as long as that buyer has signed those disclosures at the bottom, I would say this: read the things that you sign. I know that you trust your agent, and I have to tell my clients all the time, quit signing things so quickly. Let me explain, and I want you to read these documents. I make mistakes sometimes, but they need to read what they're signing. But on the bottom of that disclosure, it says that you have reviewed the disclosure, and you're signing saying I reviewed it, so you can't go back later and say, oh, she skipped blank number 3, and so I want to terminate.
I think that's an important lesson, no matter what you're doing, is read what you're signing.
Yes.
And I think people often feel bad that they're taking someone's time while they read it.
Yes. And we could talk about how often do we read the documents that we're presenting to people. I have to read them every single day, the same offer to purchase and contracts, listing agreements, addendums. I have to reread them.
I remember that's the best advice that you ever gave me whenever I started real estate was read the contracts over and over and over. Bring them to bed while you're wherever you happen to have free time. Because honestly, that contract, when people start saying something, if you know that contract and you know what it says, it is a lifesaver.
Yes.
It will work wonders. Back to the topics that we
right.
actually were supposed to prepare.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to change mine and make it a little harder now.
You'll
You'll never know if this was my question or not.
They weren't hard.
Okay.
Be confident.
Why would you not buy a house? Let's just start with this. We're not talking about location. It's in a good location. But what would make you go? It's even a good house. What would make you not buy that house?
Okay, when you say it's even a good house, you mean inspection-wise?
Yeah. We'll say it came back pretty good.
So it's in a good location, and the inspection is good. So what would make me not buy it?
Right.
Oh, that's a good question. I would think, just based on my experiences as an agent, if I didn't really love the house. Because sometimes there's nothing wrong with the house, the location's great, but I just don't love it.
You don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling?
That's right. It's just not what I had in mind. And we've seen this happen in the last few years, where people just seem like they feel like they have to settle because there's a shortage. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I came up with a new reason the other day because I was doing a video showing of a house because the buyers were not able to be there for it. So I was doing a FaceTime video, which always makes me a little bit leery. Sometimes you can't get around it, but you can't get a feel for the house when you're doing that. And so it's up to me to portray the feeling, I guess, and make sure that they know exactly how it feels. But anyway, they were late to the FaceTime call. So I'm standing on the front porch waiting for them. As I'm waiting, probably about 7 minutes, there was a barking dog, not from this subdivision, but behind the subdivision, that barked the entire time I was out there. And even after we walked through the house and they really did like the house, and I said, hey, I just want to point this out, but maybe it was just just a one-time thing. How about we go back out there and listen again? So this is like
Right.
30, 40 minutes later. Go out. All you heard is this dog barking. And I thought, wow, this is a good house, but that is not something that I think I could tolerate.
Yeah.
Things you don't think about,
No, you
which
don't
is
think
why it's
about it.
important to go outside.
That's right. To go outside and to go at different times of the day. There's a lot of properties around here, even lakefront properties that are close to the interstate.
Yeah.
You know, listening to that interstate traffic.
Yeah, no, but you don't know that, especially like a lot of times, especially if you go tour a home at night, you are in there inside, or if it's cold outside, or if it's raining outside. And so you had no idea
of the noises.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think that's just something really to think about when you're
Consider.
looking. Yeah, there's a lot of things people don't think about in that 30 minutes that they are touring a home. Sometimes I feel like it'd be a good checklist. Were there any specific noises? Were there any smells you didn't like? Were there things? I'm trying to think. So for instance, I always say, like, people don't notice if a home has a microwave space when they never notice.
Yeah.
They don't notice if there's a pantry sometimes. Like,
Right.
oh, did that house have a pantry? You don't notice till you bought the house and you go, there's no pantry in this house.
Right.
So I think you need a little checklist.
Often more than one showing. We do so many just one time, go in 30 minutes and they make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of things that you don't know. There's no coat closet, or the only downstairs bathroom is the master bathroom.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
big things that you think you would notice.
We had one the other day that said downstairs bedroom, because that's something that a lot of people like, but it didn't point out that the only bathroom downstairs is a half bath.
Oh.
I don't really think that counts as a downstairs bedroom if you can't you have to go upstairs to
Yes,
go
it's not a good
take a shower.
It's not a good guest room. It's not a good primary bedroom, and it's not a good guest room
Yeah.
because they
So,
still have to go upstairs.
yeah.
So
So
that's
a
good.
little sneaky little trick they downstairs bedroom.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Okay, this is about home inspections.
Okay.
Okay, what is the most memorable or shocking discovery that you can recall from a home inspection?
You know, this is a problem because you know already that I don't remember them. I call you and I
That's right.
say, oh my God, you are
Yeah.
not going to believe what happened today.
Yes.
But after the trauma, I forget about it. I feel like I should ask you, like, what is one of my most memorable home inspection?
I do remember all the calls, but we talked about this the other day, that when we're going through a transaction, there's so much stuff that happens, and it's just like, are we going to get through this? And then when it's over with, and you try to recall,
You have to start with a clean slate. You got to like do
your
brain
brain
blank.
your brain is just like, oh yeah, that went really good. I don't remember that being a problem.
I mean, I get them often because, okay, I know one that was
Okay.
memorable. It was memorable because we were at a house, and it was an older home, but it had been updated, and the disclosures, though, were quite nice. They looked good. We were doing the home inspection, and it is not against the rules to like open doors and drawers and things like that during a home inspection. I mean, you want to see how the doors work. You want to see how the drawers work. I think we were actually looking to see if there were soft tail, like
Yes,
soft
which we
clothes
always
and things
we
like
always
that.
do that. We always look
Yeah,
inside.
we're looking for that. And on top, at the very top, was a prior home inspection and a whole bunch of bad notes of all the things that were wrong with this house that had not been disclosed to us
Right.
properly. So that one's very memorable because, like, what are the odds that you open a drawer?
Yes. So the shocking discovery you made at a home inspection was a terrible prior home inspection report.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really had forgotten about that one. I forgot
Yeah.
about that one.
Okay.
But
Well,
that's good.
do you have one?
Yes, I had one from years ago, but there's always we're used to it now, but bats. The first time one of the houses had bats, I was like, shocked. Bats, and of course snakes in the attic. is a thing, because you think, oh, I don't want to go in the crawl space, there might be a snake, but snakes are more often found in attics than in crawl spaces and on the reports.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
But bats are a big problem.
Yes.
And they get into the eaves. And did you know the problem with bats, if you find them, is what?
They're protected.
So you can only get rid of the bats and after
certain times
certain time of the year. So you have to keep the bats until you can. I mean, they put these one-way doors on them, so if they leave, but you can't destroy the bats.
That's right.
Although I've known homes that have had bats and gotten rid of bats, and they do say they have a lot more mosquitoes now.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you could do a bat house.
It's a little more shocking the first few times that you hear about it. Now I hear it and I'm like, oh, we have experience with bats. But the thing about snakes too, I will say, ever since I've heard about or learned about snakes in the attic, when I go to pull down those, you all are forever going to remember this. When you go to pull that string down on the attic to pull down the stairs, I always think there could be a snake right there if he were to fall, then that would be the end of me. So I always kind of stand to the side, and I always tell the story to my customers about, snakes sometimes get in attics. So just keep that in mind.
It's making me a little wiggly.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you this one thing that happened. This was years ago. This was during the recession years. I was selling a foreclosure in Cherry Grove here in Mooresville. And the utilities were not on in the house whenever we first viewed the house, which was very common back at that time for foreclosures. But they would turn the utilities on for the inspection. And Bo was the home inspector. My clients were there. They were from out of state, and I was walking around the kitchen, and the gas truck pulls up, and the power was already on. And I hear someone yell, it was Bo, in the attic, said, "Don't turn on that gas! Don't turn on that gas!" And he was up in the attic, and all the lines had been cut, the gas lines, because during that time, people were breaking into these foreclosure homes and stealing all the copper. So all the lines, the gas lines had been cut. So that was probably the most shocking and
dangerous.
Very dangerous. And we were just had Bo not been in the attic when the gas company just happened to pull up, it could have been.
Home inspections are always just
they're stressful.
They're stressful, but they're always, there's just something that's always even it can be just because the sellers want to stay during a home inspection, which they are allowed to. But boy, what a long day, because the buyers can be there too.
Right.
If they want to be there for the whole home inspection, which then means the realtor is there for the whole inspection.
Yes. It's stressful it's stressful for both buyer and seller, but what we've learned is that if you prepare both buyer and seller for what the procedure is like, what the reports are like, what to inspect, not to take it personal, and it's the inspector's job to find all the things and to prepare the buyers that those reports have a lot of disclosures in them, and they're worded in the way that they legally have to be worded. So when they find a problem, they have to put it off. They have to put it off to a professional to look into it further. That's not them trying to cover their butt. That's what they're required to do by North Carolina state law for home inspectors.
Okay. Oh, is it my turn again, or is it yours?
Is. You're doing rapid fire.
I'm going to come up with rapid fire. You watch. What, as a realtor, you've seen a ton of homes. You've been in and out of it's so funny if you try to think about how many homes have you been in and out of.
Yes.
What is your favorite feature of a home?
You may not even know this.
I'm shocked. I need to know now.
Yes.
Which, by the way, we're really good friends, so I should know this.
Yes, you should know. But you may not. One of the very first waterfront Lake Norman houses I saw many years ago had a really fabulous master closet, with stairs and high shelves and stuff like that.
Oh.
But what the
feature... It had stairs?
Yes, to go to the upper levels where the ladies' shoes were all in glass. It's beautiful master.
Oh my gosh.
But that's not even the thing. But there was a door, a pocket door that you couldn't even really tell it was a door, and behind that was the laundry room. that little sneaky door to the laundry room.
And that's a new feature that builders have caught on to now.
Yes.
Because new construction homes, a lot of these new developments.
And not necessarily the big
custom
$1,000,000
builders,
home or custom builder. I've seen them in smaller homes and smaller plans, and I've said, what a great feature to do you can do it in any price range, because lots of times the primary bedroom is attached or close to a wall to wall with the laundry room. So why not put that little door in there? It's just so convenient to be able to get the laundry into the closet.
I don't think this is going to catch on, but this is what I think should exist. Attached to the laundry room should be a family dressing room. And so nobody has their clothes in their closets anymore. All the clothes are put away in the family dressing room.
They have to come and get their items.
Yes, but think about how easy it would be to put away laundry.
Yes.
It's right there. Like, I just think about how many times, I think about my sister who has 5 children, so there are always piles of laundry, piles of dirty laundry, piles of clean laundry. And it's because she has to go all over the house. She still has toddlers. It's not like you could say, here, you put away your clothes. But I'm like, but what if there was a family dressing room and it had
they had to come and check out their shirts and bring back their 2 dirty shirts.
Even better.
That would not be too bad.
The family. If you are a builder thinking of a new concept, I think the family dressing rooms is going to be one that comes up in the future. My favorite feature of a home is, I had 2 actually, but I'm going to go with 1. But my favorite feature is the drop zone in the back door when you go in. And I like it to have more than just a bench, because you don't think about these things, but our home has a bench. And so you have to lift up the bench and you can put stuff in it, which is great for storage. But that's all you do is stack stuff on top of the bench. And so you can't ever lift up the bench.
Right.
So then you have the bench and the 20 pair of shoes in front of it. So I think a lot of thought has to go into the perfect drop zone, a place you can put mail, a charging station, everything that, place to put up your pocketbook, your purse, your shopping bags, umbrellas. So I think, and mine is a disaster right now. In fact, it's on I'm doing this kind of 1 year to a happier home projects of my own home. And I made that up. That's not so there's not a 1 year's worth.
I'm writing that down.
1 year to a happier home projects. So my first one was to clean out underneath my bathroom sink, which is also it's not anymore. It makes me feel so happy to open up those doors now.
Is there any design you could think of to because everybody's going to stay. If you got a bench, everybody's going to stack on top of the bench. Is there a design, maybe not a bench, just cubbies?
I like drawers. If there's drawers, so the top doesn't open, instead it's fixed. And then there's drawers, so everybody can have a shoe drawer, because you do want to just throw stuff in it.
Right.
Nobody wants to have just stack your shoes. Plus, if they're open cubbies, they're dirty because your shoes are dirty.
Yeah.
So there's all the dirt falling off of them. Just somebody really needs to put some extra thought into this drop zone. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna research drop zones so that I can come to the table. Maybe next time I'll bring you guys
have
a
a
drop zones.
design.
Yeah. Do you have some other stuff to talk
I
about?
have one more. I
Okay.
read the card didn't count.
I thought we were done.
Have we taken too much time? Because I can save it.
No. I need to. You had 2 topics to bring to the table.
Okay. All right. This one is about due diligence. This question is about due diligence. But first, I wanted to explain what due diligence is. First of all, due diligence is the most common question asked on Google about North Carolina real estate. What is due diligence in North Carolina?
I had to explain it yesterday.
So I have to explain it to customers all the time, but when I was thinking about how I was going to explain it for this purpose, I had to go and read the listing agreement, read the offered purchase of contract, and then go to North Carolina Realtors to get a quick definition, but I wrote it down.
Okay.
So I'm going to write it down. So I'm going to read it. Due diligence is a non-refundable deposit paid directly to the seller for the right to conduct due diligence. The amount of due diligence money may be influenced by the length of time the buyer wants to conduct due diligence, the number of days the property has been on the market, and the motivations of the buyer and seller. Okay? Earnest money is also a deposit, but it's held in escrow, and earnest money is refundable as long as the buyer terminates during the due diligence period.
A few takeaways from that.
It's so hard to say it quickly.
Due diligence is non-refundable for any reason, and you give it
Directly to the seller.
It's made out to their name. They're going to cash it right away, and you will not be getting it back.
Yes.
So I think that is something so hard for people to understand. Now, it does come off the price of the house.
That's right. You close, that money's credited. That's a common question. If someone pays $100,000 for a house and they pay $10,000 with their earnest money and due diligence combined, they're not paying $110,000. They only pay $90,000 when they go to closing.
Yeah.
That is taken off. The only reason it comes into play to potentially lose it is if you don't close on the house.
Right. I think people always also they ask me this, how much should we give for due diligence? And because it is a negotiable amount at a negotiable time frame, there are so many factors to consider. How many days has the home been on the market?
Right.
How many people are interested in the home? Do they already have multiple offers?
Competitive market like we've seen for the last few years, it has gotten out of control. It's getting a little bit better, but it did get out of control.
I know what you're thinking about.
Well, yeah, that's what my question's going to be. But I'll say this first. I'll say this first. We've had due diligence in North Carolina since 2010 or 11. The whole time you've had your license, right? Did you have a time when the due diligence was not the way contracts worked in North Carolina?
Oh, we had due diligence when I got my license. It just was not a
Required.
it wasn't required, and it still was just catching on. Like
Okay.
it was there, but
We were still being resistant to the change.
they might have been like, I'll give $50.
That's right, or $0 because you can get that.
Yeah,
you
you
can
can do zero.
You can do zero. But prior to that, and a lot of states, there's only a few states that have due diligence money for a due diligence period, but the states are moving to be more like North Carolina. And yes, they
it's
are.
very confusing. I don't
Yes.
know.
But prior to us becoming a due diligence state, we had contingencies in our contract. There was a contingency for financing, a contingency for appraisal. There was contingency, I have to sell my house. It was an inspection contingency. There's no contingencies in our contract now. So if the house doesn't appraise, you don't know about it till after due diligence period ends, then that's just part of it. You need to get all your stuff done during your due diligence period. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my question.
Okay.
I call you at 10 o'clock at night and I say, oh my gosh, Carla, my buyer would like to offer $2,500,000 due diligence money. Can they do that?
Well,
This is-
I think the oh my God might have given away which one of us called which one of us. But the answer is, I think we should say, can you or should you?
Yes, I read both.
Yeah.
Can they or should they?
Yes. They can, Crystal.
They can, although
and this is why they should not. First of all, let's say why someone maybe would want
that's
to
right.
do that.
Why would they want to do that?
They want this house. They are trying to win this house, and they are trying to say, look, we're buying this house. We'll buy it quickly. We'll buy it on your time frame. We are buying this house. We're not backing out. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
That seller could literally jump on a plane to the other side of the country with your $2.5 million and never close on this house. Never.
That's right.
Yeah,
You're under contract, yes, but that you would have to sue them to have the house transferred into your name and go through all that kind of litigation. It was just.
The reasoning behind it was sound. The actual thing of doing it was not sound. What is the most due diligence that you have seen offered on a home?
$50,000.
Yeah, and mine was $100,000.
Yeah.
Now, due diligence has become not what it was intended for.
Yeah, it's become leverage. When the market, we've seen these big numbers in the past 3 years because it was the only way that someone could really flex to get an offer accepted. They could go.
Oh, I like that word, flex. I'm flexing to get my offer.
Flex, yes.
Yeah. Wow, you're so hip. Does it work?
Yes, it works. It absolutely works.
Yeah.
My lowest price house, I had a $160,000 house. I had the listing and we had $10,000 due diligence money offered on that. For that price house, that much money, and that is the reason why the buyers took that offer. There were offers that the purchase price was higher, but that due diligence money was the
I mean, the
factor.
seller wants to know, how sure can I be
Right.
that you're not going to walk away? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if I love it. I see pros and cons. I think it has gotten a little
It feels like there should be some sort of limit on it. There should be a certain percentage, a certain percentage of the purchase price it cannot max out at. But then I've heard some conversations or people going back and forth about it, that then people would just up their earnest money or shorten their due diligence days to that maximum amount of due diligence money up front for one day, and then I'm going to put up $100,000 of earnest money, because after that due diligence ends, then
Now your
that's
earnest
in
money's
place.
up.
So they can always figure out a way to use cash, non-refundable, to
flex.
yes.
I can't wait to make that the cutout that I do for this, you flexing.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Well, I think this has been a good show.
We have to say thank you to our fans from last week. Thank you to our fans.
Thank you.
For our comments and our likes.
Yeah.
And we have had a couple of requests to be guests. People want to be guests on our show.
I have seen that. Like,
Yes.
you know, this is the most interest that my family has ever shown in my real estate. Well, we'll see if we end up with guests soon. But for now, we just ask you to like and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions that you would like us to answer,
Any ideas for topics? What do you hear out there that you'd like for us to chat about?
and you can DM us individually too, so that we don't know each other's topics. We can still stick
that
to
would
it.
be kind of sneaky.
Yeah, so, you know, however you want to do it. Thanks for joining us in our show today, and have a great week. Bye.